Dr. Jeffrey Boyd. This video is about climate denial. This concerns people who deny the climate sciences. At first they said there's no evidence that the Earth is warming, and then it became clear that the Earth was warming, and they said, well, it's not due to burning fossil fuels, and in any case there's nothing you can do about it, so forget it. Climate denial is the main reason that we're unable to do anything effective during our lifetime. So we must solve this problem. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they have a saying, denial ain't just a river in Egypt. The first time it was recognized that there would be a climate crisis was when ExxonMobil emerged as the biggest corporation on Earth in the 1970s, and they decided to do some research about what would be the carbon dioxide impact of them selling billions of barrels of oil over the next 50 years. They set up a superb research team from 1978 to 82. Edward Garvey headed the research team. He was given a budget of millions of dollars a year and a supertanker for the research. They did more careful climate research than anyone else has ever done, and they predicted that there would be massive global warming. Garvey said that the glaciers would melt, Antarctica would melt, and there would be a rising of the oceans. They predicted climate chaos. Exxon believed their scientists to the point that they built their drilling platforms higher above the ocean to leave room for the ocean to rise. But then Exxon not only failed to alert the public about this, they also started to lie about it.
Scientific evidence remains inconclusive as to whether human activities affect the global climate.
Climate denial, which Exxon knew to be a lie, became the dominant viewpoint of fossil fuel industry lobbyists and the dominant viewpoint of the Republican Party of the United States.
We found a trail of documents that go back to 1977. Exxon knew carbon dioxide was increasing in the atmosphere, that combustion of fossil fuels is driving it, and that this posed a threat to Exxon. At that time, Exxon understood very quickly that governments would probably take action to reduce fossil fuel consumption. They're smart people, great scientists, and they saw the writing on the wall.
And there was no questioning that the atmospheric carbon dioxide was increasing, that atmospheric carbon dioxide was going to change the climate in some fashion. The question was how fast, how much, and what kind of impacts would it have, overall to the planet.
Many scientists agree there's ample time to better understand climate systems and consider policy options. So there's simply no reason to take drastic action now.
They claimed that there wasn't enough science to back any kind of decision to reduce carbon emissions from the combustion of fossil fuels, when in fact, by the time they started staking out that position, they'd known the science for probably about 15 years, if not longer.
It is not your parents or grandparents or my generation who destroyed the climate. It is people you never met. People named the 1%. Well, you met one of them in this video, Lee Raymond. These are the people who run and own the fossil fuel companies. Now, I'll tell you something shocking. If the fossil fuel companies intended to reach net zero by 2050, they would be tapering down the amount of production. But in fact, the amount of production is going up. It's not going down, it's going up, and therefore more and more fossil fuel is being burned as we speak. More carbon dioxide up into the atmosphere, higher temperatures, increased profits for the fossil fuel companies. That is the current reality. When oil executives testified before Congress in 2021 about climate disinformation, a few, such as Dave Lawler of BP, endorsed the idea of net zero by 2021, but most oil executives were cynical and contemptuous of climate goals. But I'll tell you something even more shocking. What do you have in your wallet? If you have there a credit card that says on it Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, Royal Bank of Canada, then you are supporting the big banks who are funding the current expansion of the fossil fuel industry. There are two goals. The one on the left says 0 emissions of CO2 by the year 2050. This is the goal we all talk about. No further emissions of carbon dioxide after 2050. But on the right, there's a different goal. It says maximum profits for the fossil fuel companies by the year 2050. Now today, in America, the goal we are actually driving towards, the goal on the right. If we want to switch and follow the goal on the left, 0 emissions, we have to leave most fossil fuels in the ground. And we can only do that by taking control of the fossil fuel companies. The 1% encourage and fund climate denial because it keeps you from thinking about the kinds of things I've said in this video. Of the things I've said in this video, the most important is that there is now an increasing amount of production of fossil fuels, an increasing amount of burning them, and therefore the climate in the future will be worse than it is now unless we do something. And the reason this is happening is because of increased profits for the 1%. Thank you very much for your attention. In the next video, I'll give you another glimpse into the thinking of a retired psychiatrist, Episcopal minister, and servant of God, namely me.